Good afternoon, everybody. It's Monday, July 31st, and it's live chats with Maggie and Bunny. And you can see us both today because we have
Yes.
no computer issues. We're kind of late in the day today because I was driving and Bunny was busy. And this is what you get when you've been driving on the highway for quite a few
Ah,
hours.
you're fine.
But yes, hello.
Hello, I'm so happy. Yeah, what I was busy with was going to pick up the computer from the repair place and setting it up because it had to be set up like it was brand new. I'm still in the process of setting it up, but I did enough to be able to get on today for the podcast.
Yes. So our topic today is holding on.
Holding on.
Holding on. What does that mean? What does it do? Like, you can look at that in so many ways. What are we holding on to that we don't need to? It's
Mhm.
a full moon, it's a time of letting go. So today's a good day to have that conversation.
I forgot it was a
And
full
Bunny
moon
and
today.
I, yeah, Bunny and I were talking just as we were getting on there
Mhm.
here about holding on and about things being a matter of perspective and what holding on does to us. Bunny, what does holding on do to us that we were talking about?
It's so funny. It's so funny how things can be put into perspective and how different aspects of your life can mean things not just for the physical stuff but also for like the spiritual things and how we were talking about it and you made a point that what I was talking to you about was the things in the computer and how I said that going through this the computer repair is that everything got erased off of the computer, which I backed everything up that I needed, everything that I thought was important. But I realized that in the almost 3 years that I've had the computer, I had a lot of things that were unnecessary, that were, I didn't need to be holding on to those things. And I did, and it was actually sort of a little overwhelming trying to figure out what I should get rid of, what I should keep, and that kind of thing. And you made a good point that that is also part of life too. And what are the things that we're holding on to that we don't need, and that includes you know I saw a TikTok this week about the just in case, that those are the three worst words in the human language, the just in case. And it was a little bit of a funny one about how you would keep ridiculous things just in case,
Yep.
but it is something that we do. It is something that we do all the time. I loved how they ended with the good boxes. Like that's something as an adult nobody tells you about when you're a kid, that you tend to keep really good boxes for
Yep.
just in case.
Just in case I'm going to move.
Yeah, just in case I need to store something, just in case I need to deliver something. It's so funny.
Yeah. It's funny because that you say that and you use that as the example. We've been in this house now, I think, for 14 years. And down in our basement, which is what I call it, because it's the place that everything goes that's going to die, the just in case stuff. And my husband has saved boxes from when we moved in this house, just in case we need them,
Just in
just in case we're going to move,
case.
because they were the right size for something.
Yes, exactly.
Even though, you know, I don't know if those boxes are even still any good after 14 years. Do you want to put your stuff in them after 14 years? Like, do
And
they?
I not only that, but how do you know that you couldn't find a better box that's a better fit? Like
Yeah,
that, like that's the whole thing. Like 14 years ago, you could actually carry more in a box. So maybe you could use bigger boxes, but now maybe you can carry a smaller weight. So you want
yeah,
smaller boxes. Like it is funny. It is funny.
yeah. And it's also the point of holding on. Sometimes we're holding on to the story we tell ourselves
Mm-hmm.
that is no longer true.
Mm-hmm.
It is no longer part of who we are. It
Mm.
is no longer part of our being.
Yeah.
But this story that we hold on to ourselves to, we're telling ourselves we need to have it and we don't.
Mm.
What about, I remember a time when I was afraid to drive on the Hamilton Skyway, which
Yep.
is a big, huge bridge for our worldwide listeners.
Yeah.
It's a big, huge bridge that is scary to a lot of people. Well, today when I was driving home, I had to drive over that bridge in the biggest downpour
Oh.
that you could hardly see the car in front of you. And I commented to Anne, who was in the car with me, the lady in the car with me, and I said, I remember when I used to close my eyes going over this bridge. Now, if I hadn't let go of that story of I'm scared to drive on that bridge, I would have missed an opportunity to be driving somewhere today and to go somewhere,
Wow.
you
I
know,
have like actual chills right now. Just
because we hold on to things. And that is just one tiny, tiny example of things I would have missed out on if I hold on to the story. I remember like another example, and you know me, I only give my own examples because I got a friggin' bunch of life that I had a lot of shit that has a lot of examples. Like, I have a first husband. If I had held on to the story I told myself, I would never have got married.
Mm.
I would have missed out on what I have now, because when my first husband and I broke up, it was very traumatic, and I was never going to be in a relationship with anybody ever again. It
Mhm.
was too painful. If I had held on to that story, I
Mm.
would have missed this.
Yeah.
And that's what you and I were saying just as we were starting to record here.
Yeah.
Holding on causes us to miss opportunities.
Yes, it does. Yeah. I was telling you that one of the people that I follow on TikTok, which is a Tibetan monk, um, a modern age, I guess, Tibetan monk. He's on TikTok and he kind of talks for the modern age. And he was talking about that, how if you're holding on to something, it doesn't allow the new things to come in. And that includes even the good that is in our life that just is no longer around.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that you can't, um, build upon things, but you're building upon the things that are quote unquote bad too, right? that are negative as well. So it's great to build upon things as a foundation, but holding on to them is a little bit different. I know also that holding on to expectations of how you're going to get something is also, or expectations of how people are going to be in a relationship and or in a, and when I say relationship, I don't just mean romantic, I mean any kind of relationship.
Yeah.
Friends or relationships, coworkers or relationships, siblings, children, all of that stuff. It's all relationships. If you hold on to an expectation, you miss out in the beauty that is there, the
Yeah.
things that are present. And that is, something I just like, I was thinking about the person for me who really kind of solidified it was Dr. Wayne Dyer. When he was, and I remember it was one of the things, it was a very impactful one when he was talking about how he had talked to somebody about letting go and holding on to expectations and holding on to things in his life. And he gave away literally everything except for like I think one shirt and one pair of shorts and a pair of underwear. Even gave away his shoes, his sandal, like everything except like
Yeah.
a shirt, a pair of shorts. He said like, and he said it was the most freeing thing. It was like he felt a complete weight lifted off. And I do think about how often in my life, even unbeknownst to me, so like say that something has happened that I didn't choose to let go of the thing, but that thing was let go. So when Steve had passed away, like I didn't choose. I wouldn't have chosen for him to go. But in the him leaving, it allowed other things to come into my life, and
Yeah.
that included a lot of friends and a lot of people and a whole new way of being that just kind of slid into that same thing. And it's so funny. I'm just thinking of my examples in my life. How many times is it where, say that you're looking for a partner, a romantic partner, and you're looking and looking and looking and looking, and the moment you find a romantic partner, all these guys or girls are coming up to you and they're trying to date you, and you're like, yeah, I'm already like, it's so funny how that happens. And it's just because you asked the universe for something
Yeah.
and now you've received it, and that expectation has kind of gone. So you let go of that expectation. You let go
Right.
of that thing that you thought. And the same thing even happened with jobs. How many times did I used to apply for jobs and I'd go for interviews, or I'd try to go for interviews, I wouldn't get an interview, and then I'd get 3 interviews or 4 interviews back to back. And after I already had a job, I'd get somebody else who wanted me to go in for an interview with them or to offer a job. It's crazy. Like when I say crazy, I mean like cool crazy, like weird and
Yeah.
unusual crazy. It's I don't know. It blows my mind.
Yeah. It's about being in the present moment. I was listening to a podcast on the way home, and that's what he was talking about, was that our job in this world is to be in the present moment.
Mhm.
When we step outside of the present moment, that's when we get messed up in our thoughts. We
Mhm.
get messed up in expectations.
Mhm.
As long as we stay in the present moment, everything's fine.
Right.
We're happy. We're content because we're in the present moment,
Yeah.
and really that goes along with the same thing about holding on. When we hold on to something, whether it's a past, whether we're holding on to a dream of the future, we're not living in the present.
Mhm.
And the present is the only place to be, because that's where we are.
Absolutely. And the holding on thing, that I remember. So a piece of paper is not very heavy. But if you took that piece of paper, if I handed you a piece of paper and I said, "Hey Maggie, hold on to this piece of paper, hold it up in the air for 2 hours. Don't put this down. Hold it up in the air for 2 hours." I guarantee that 15 minutes you're gonna notice. You're gonna be like, can I put
Yep.
this piece of paper down? And it's a piece of paper. It's the exact same weight it was when
Yep.
you picked it up, and it will be the same weight when you eventually put it down. But it's so hard to carry.
Yep.
And sometimes we do that with things in our life. We hold on to those things instead of kind of letting it flow through us, because I think that in in society we have this idea that we're passing through life, that we're passing through time, but it's actually the opposite.
Right.
Life is passing through us, it's happening through us, and time is going through us. So
Yep.
it's a little bit of a perspective shift, instead of you thinking, those kind of things. And the synchronicities that come up sometimes in life are just amazing, and where you can get messages, where you can, like you said, you're listening to a podcast driving in the car. And,
Yep.
like, who would have thought that that's going to be the moment that some great things going to, occur to your mind, and it's going to make it's going to click.
Yep.
It's going to be that it might have been the 100th time, it might have been the 5th time that you heard that same thing. But it just made it just the energy was just right. It was perfect in that moment, and just kind of clicked another little piece in there, and now we're able to share it with whoever is going to listen to our podcast, and that's how
That's
ripples
right.
are formed.
And that's how it happens. And it's like he said in this, it's all of the ripples and all of the waves in the ocean are from the same ocean.
Right.
We think they're from where we're standing when we see that wave. And when he said that, that went through me. Whoa. Because, we think what's happening to us is only about us,
Yeah.
but it's not about us.
Yeah.
It's affecting us, yes.
Mhm.
And it affects us more when we pick it up and we look at
Yeah.
it and we dissect it and we talk about how unfair it is or how good it is or how bad it is, because it's not just bad, it can be good.
Right.
But it's it's all from that same ocean. And that is, it's hard to fathom
Yeah.
when you're standing there looking at the wave.
Yeah.
Wherever you are, that ocean is from beginning to end.
Yeah.
And that's how powerful it is. And we are the same.
Mhm.
We are the same. That energy that flows through us is exactly the same as the energy that flows through the ocean,
Mhm.
that life passing through us. And it's when you think of it in that way, that when we let go of things that we're not supposed to be holding. And when we stop making them a story, it's like you said with the paper, it goes back to being just a piece of paper,
Yeah.
not this heavy weight that hurts your arm,
Yeah.
not this,
Yeah.
this paper towel,
Yeah.
not this heavy weight. It's just a paper towel. It's just a thing.
Yeah. It's true.
And it's hard to do in humanness. It's hard to do, especially when we're suffering. It's
Yeah.
hard. There's been a lot of, in my own personal circle of people, there are a lot of people who are dealing with some tough stuff right now. It's hard. And you can't look at people who are suffering and say, just let it go.
Yeah.
No, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
hard.
you could say it. You're probably not going to get a good response, but I mean, there is times too, and I think that that's important. There are times where you have to ask the person who you're talking to, like, do you want to be heard or do you want to be helped? Do you want to be held or do you want to be helped? Is this a moment where you just want me to hold space for you and listen to what you have to say and let you release and we go on? Or do you want to get out of that feeling right now? If you want to get out of the feeling, I can help you do that. And if you don't want to get out of the feeling and you just want to be heard, I can listen and as well for that.
Yeah.
Unless I tell you that I'm not gonna because of my own personal boundaries. But it's that's something that you kind of negotiate with the person, but you let them know, and I know that there are certain people, like I have friends and family who they know that, I'm going to offer them a specific type of support where I won't offer a different type of support. So if they want to commiserate about things and be like that and say, how this is unfair and this is unfair, that might not be for me. I might not be good.
You might not be the person to go to.
I might not be the person to go to. But if you want to say, hey, this is what's going on in my life, I'd like to feel better, and I'm me, Bunny. I'm going to tell you how to be responsible for yourself because I'm all about personal responsibility. And I'm going to tell you, okay, this is what you need to do to change your perspective on that situation, or to change, to look at this a little bit differently and perhaps stop the suffering if that's what you choose. And again, that's something that I set out right away. Is this what you want? Because if this isn't what you want, then I'm not going to give you that. I'm going to give you something else. So, yeah.
And that's kind of like what we were talking about in the beginning of holding on. Yeah. It's our choice whether or not we hold on. It's neither right nor wrong.
Right.
It's our choice. And sometimes we are holding on to things and we need to.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's okay. Things that I hold on to, you might not.
Right.
And it's all about choice.
It's funny because another person I follow on TikTok said, a lot of times when we hold on to these things, it's because we're afraid that if we let it go, our need won't be met. So everything we do, everything we've done is always about trying to cause the least amount of suffering we can in our life. That's what we all do all the time. We try everything. When you think about the beliefs that you have, the expectations, the things you hold on to, all of that, every choice that you make, it's always in regards to trying to have the least amount of suffering that you can to yourself. And so if there's something that you've been doing that has been working for you, even if it isn't still completely 100% the right way, quote unquote, to do it, you're going to hold on to it in fear that if you let it go, that thing you're going to have suffering again. That need isn't going to be met. And so sometimes that's a reason why we're holding on to those things. And fear is a big motivator. Fear of pain is a huge motivator. And so so that's why we do a lot of the things that we do. But we can have extremely supportive people who can help. I know with you, what I talk about all the time, you help me see different perspectives. Our great friend Anne as well. She tells us different perspectives.
Yeah.
You know, I think, especially when I'm in a spin out and I can only see the story from one way, I can only see it from my point of view of pain or my point of view of fear. And I can't see anything else out of that. And
Yeah.
if you say to me, hey, what about this? And then I'm like, huh. So,
Yeah. And it's true, because I had an epiphany of something this week when I was away. And it's one of those, and you know, Bunny, how I always say, things don't happen to you, they happen for you.
yes.
And something happened, and I was going the to me route. And very quickly, I heard in my spirit, this is what I'm doing for you.
Mhm.
And I just knew, yes, this is what you're doing for me,
Yeah.
even though I don't necessarily like it,
Yes.
but it is for me. And that, a lot of the times, we hold on because, like you say, we're afraid.
Mhm.
We're afraid of change. We're afraid of new, all of that stuff.
Yep.
So this is a good day on July 31st to talk about holding on and letting go,
Yep.
because I would ask people today who are listening, if you're listening today, what don't you want to take into August with you?
Yeah.
What don't you need anymore?
Right. What can you put down? What
What can you
weight are
put
you
down?
carrying that's too
Yeah.
heavy that you can pick it up later if you want. If you want to
Yep.
pick it up again, you can pick it up again. But for right now, what do you
And
want to
there's
put
no
down?
fault in that. You
Mhm.
know, there's no fault in that. Sometimes we put things down and then we go, oh, no, 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 I need to take care of that. I need to
Yeah.
do that. And pick it back up again, only to realize, no, we don't really need
Yeah.
to. And so it doesn't matter how many times you put it down and pick
Yeah.
it up. Life is a process.
Yeah.
The only time we're done is when we're done.
Yeah. And on that
And
note,
on that note,
on that note, I guess we'll end our podcast for today. As always, you can always reach out to us by email at aboveandbeyond@gmail.com. Find us on our website at aboveandbeyond.com and on Facebook and podcasts and YouTube and everywhere. It's great to be back with a computer that is fully working with a camera and everything. So that's amazing. Bye.
okay, everybody, have a great day. Have a great week, and happy August tomorrow.
Yay. Bye.
Bye.